is Tom. Happy, you're lucky. So I've known as Tom in the rest of the world, so if you see me outside of this context, you don't know who it is. I've known Tom himself. I've known Jamie now for 29 years, 30 years. There's kind of a tradition when the Lynn and Dial family get together, we always start with, raise your hand if you own a gun. All right. That was our first time. I think we surprised the Dials a little bit that night. Jamie and I were freshman year roommates at Yale. And we found early on we had things in common. And it was odd for me because we come from two very different backgrounds. I'm from kind of the newer Irish Catholic immigrant working class background. Jamie's father had gone to Yale, and I think he also went to Trinity Prep School here.
No.
Deerfield, Yale, and Navy. So he had roots here that were a lot different than mine. And so we both kind of like puppies getting to know each other, eyeing each other up, first times around, like how do you do things this way and that way, and it was very, very different. So we shared things a lot the same. I remember taking a walk with Jamie since we started working together and seeing different, talking about things that we have in common. We saw this poster. You remember this? It said, missing cat. It had a phone number on it. And we both had the same thought. We were like, why do people have to brag? But we have a lot of the same thoughts on politics, religion, families, and what have you there. And having those thoughts has made us close. We've also had a lot of differences, a lot of kind of rocky times over the years, would you say? Jamie brings them up to a lot. A lot of people know the story, but I thought I'd go over a few of them. Since we're here in the context of Yale, and there you go. Before we got to the point where Beth came in this life. But Jamie and I were freshman year roommates, and we were just kind of figuring out how to go out and have fun, and meet people, maybe drink a little bit here and there, maybe meet some people in different colleges, and just get to know the freshman experience. But one time Jamie had a prep school friend come in, and he and his friend went out, then I went out, and then we came in, and he fell asleep in our common room. We couldn't get him to move. We were roommates, and we kind of wanted to play video games and do stuff, so we decided to take him into the bedroom. We still wouldn't get up and go into the bedrooms. Two friends and I brought him into our bedroom, and he was on the top bunk. He always wanted the top bunk. I don't know why. I was afraid he wet the bed. Turns out I did wet the bed, but we went into the bedroom, and we tried to say, hey, Jamie, get in your bed, and he wasn't waking up. So we decided to swing him up onto the bed. 1, 2, and then I'll never forget, at the count of 3, his eyes snapped open. And he tried to help us. So the added momentum skipped him off the bed like a stone and down the other side. It was a moment of horror, and all three of us went around, and there was a radiator on the other side. And we bent backwards over the radiator in an inhuman position, like something out of Family Guy. And I just thought, wow, how does he do that? The other two guys were very upset. They said, should we do something? Could he be really hurt? And I said, look, I know about these things. I've heard that nerve cells can't regenerate. So if his back is broken, there's nothing you can do. And if it's not broken, we're in the clear. So let's put him back in the bed. So he woke up in the morning, and I eyed him curious and said, how's it going? Ah, pretty good, but my back is killing me. So we're in the clear. So Bry's family would have, no, I don't drink anymore. We don't have those problems. We had so much time together over the years that was work time. As Jamie became a lawyer, as I did, and I hired him to work with me at the Wild. I worked for an NHL team. He did player arbitrations and grievances and things like that. But he always wanted to have our time together before the arbitration because we had so much fun preparing for these work. We did a lot of plays together. We did a lot of work together as well. But I was thinking about some of his preparation for arbitration. One time we were doing arbitration. I was doing the summation. And Jamie was sitting between me and the general manager of the hockey team, and just as my final line, he passed me a note like this. So I took the note, and so I announced what was in the note, which turned out to be completely the opposite of the truth. So I looked at Jamie, who looked at the GM, who looked down the table at nobody. But, we ended up winning the case, but I always said to Jamie, why didn't you check out the facts? And he says, when the general manager of an NHL team gives you a note, then you pass it on. You don't care how it is. But another time we had a challenge when we were working together was later in life. Jamie had left Reed Smith, the law firm he was at, and took up, at the time, I think we were transferring our agency work. He was kind of in a transition time in his life, so we went out to dinner together at the steakhouse. He started talking about stuff, and guys would talk. He said, look, I've been taking up yoga. So I did what we call my family the rabbit. Do you know how rabbits just freeze up and and if you don't say anything, so I did the rabbit straight ahead. So him not feeling any resistance forged right ahead, and he said, "Hey, I'm talking to a life coach." So now I'm really like, "Oh no, what do I say?" You know? Yoga and a life coach. So I still said nothing. And I just kept eating what he said. And I'm thinking of writing children's books. So at that point, I thought, I'm going to throw myself out the window. So I looked around, and we were eating one of those restaurants in New York that you walk down into, down the stairs. So the windows were just windows. So I had nowhere to go. So that was one of those instances where we ended up talking out together. Those conversations led us to go into business together eventually. We've been in business together for a while, and then at some point in that business life, he started to talk about this woman at the gym. And didn't have a name right away. Now, Jamie had nicknames for all his dates. I rarely knew when he dated someone their name. He had a nickname. I still don't remember. This person never had a nickname. But in the beginning, he didn't mention any of it. He said, "This woman at the gym is chasing after me." So I said, "How do you know she's chasing after you?" He says, "Well, I'm on the bike and she's on the treadmill." So I said, "If she's on the treadmill, she's not really getting anywhere." He said, "No, maybe you're right." But that's, so maybe he misinterpreted the treadmill as something else. He talked about her often without giving her a nickname. So it was the first time I thought something was amiss with Gene. This was a new part of his life, and it would be different. So I'm trying to think about the story he had there, but he would tell me stories about going out with her with no humor, though. So Gene and I tell a lot of stories that I do here now. But usually it's about, "You wouldn't believe what happened, and this happened." He tell me these boring stories like, "Oh, when I was back the other night, it was really nice." So I'd be waiting for the punchline or the Dan Long. Nothing. He just wanted to tell me that. You know? Like, all right, sounds good. This went on for quite some time before I realized that this is really serious, you know. And I had known Jamie to ever be this way about a woman in our 46. He's 46 years old. I've known him for 29 years, so I knew it was serious. So it went up a step after a while. One of the last times that I being in arbitrations with Jamie, there was one time we used to go on road trips a lot when we were younger and visit with various people. And I thought back to that time when we went to throw him up on the bed. We bounced off the other side and bent over the radiator, and I realized that was Jamie's first yoga pose. It was almost you could never replicate that now, right? Because you were bent 45 degrees backwards over that radiator. But then later on, when we went to visit friends who had only one bed available to us, we had to sleep together. So we would tell people for years that we slept together.
Tommy, we always had our suspicions.
And I was very justifiably proud of it. But young kids nowadays came up with something called planking. So you can imagine what planking is. Jamie and I were sitting in that bed together like this. The entire night, trying not to move, being entirely stiff, and that's what came. And the crazy time. When I finally realized Jamie was sold on Beth is when he called her by name, he never gave her a nickname, he only said positive things about her, he never ever teased about her. In my presence, I thought, well, there's something big going on here. And at some point, I kind of pushed him, is this going to happen? Is this going to go all the way? He acted so nonchalant, as if I missed the third quarter. He said, "No, yeah, it's already done." So I just want to wish you the best of both. Beth, you came along at a time in his life when he really was ready for the right person. He never really, ever put his heart to someone like you. He's never spoken about anyone or to anyone. So best wishes from all of us.